Okay, so it's 6:20, so I'm starting late. But I was up in the middle of the night. I could not sleep, so I got up for a while, and then it was like 2, and I was like, man, I don't know, maybe I'll just go back to sleep for a while. And then went back to bed, and then Stella woke me up again. And then when I got up, it was 5:30, and I was like, oh, I must be getting up. And it's super dark out because it's totally snowing, totally snowing, and then it says it's supposed to rain all morning, so hopefully it's going to turn into rain. But right now it's snow, and then we're having a windstorm. So this afternoon's a windstorm, and I've seen videos. Oklahoma and Arkansas got hit with some tornadoes, and then Oklahoma has the fires going too, and then all those winds is just going to move the fires faster, faster, faster. And I swear to God, they do it all on purpose. They just do all this shit on purpose. Just like, my mom's telling me, well, those trees have been standing there for hundreds of years. They're not just going to fall on you. I'm like, I lived over there. I saw how often they fell on you, for one thing. But for another thing, you can't sit there and have a conversation about the increase in the weather and what they do with their technologies. And so that's why trying to, have a reasonable, normal conversation can be so challenging, because if you know stuff and the other person doesn't, then it's like it can only advance to where they're understanding. So it can't go beyond that because it just shuts down. I can't even, yesterday, we went to the store. Oh, I got a nice big rug now right here. So it's like, actual floor. There's like a rug, and the dogs are like, oh, laying on it. Because before I had a couple of little throw rug things and dog beds, and these two wild, I swear to God, I have had boy dogs before. These two oversexed maniacs are just, oh my God, they are rated X all day long. Like, even though he's in here chewing, that's to try and relieve his tension because they just got in trouble. And Max is just pouting. He's just going to go sleep for a while, but he'll be up looking for something to relieve himself on. He's taught Archie how to just relieve himself on himself. Like, he's figured out how to, it's like, oh my God, what am I witnessing? What do I have to, oh God. Yeah, you just never know what to expect in your journey, I swear to God. But these two little porn stars here, it's like, Jesus, I've had enough of the sex shenanigans. Let's cool our jets for a while. And anyways, because I kept on thinking, oh man, they wouldn't stop. And then I was like, well, I'm just gonna start. But I think maybe when the light comes on, maybe they know like I'm serious business. And then but they're all like liking this rug. It's like a thick shag. I can't believe how good this rug is. It's like, sometimes it's crazy because if you think like go get a rug at the thrift store, it's gonna be like raggedy, just cat pee all over it and stuff. And so this one, it was the only one that was big. I just wanted to get a big one. Didn't really care what it looked like or anything. I just wanted a big one to have more space on the floor because these two rowdy guys are just, it was about 10 zillion times a day. I'd have to just like keep trying to cover the concrete. And so they had this one the other day, but I couldn't afford it. So then we left, and then my mom was talking about this big sale they were having on Friday, and she said we should go up there. And I said, well, I don't have any money, but we can go up there. And she said, well, I'll let you borrow the money to get the rug because I got paid on Wednesday. So I got more stuff, but I got a bunch of stuff that, kind of like I needed down here. And then but this rug is like, it's like, it even has this fringe thing, these little fringe braid things that look like brand new. And the only downside though really is because it's white and it's shag. But it's got these blue diamond things in it, but it looked like brand new. And it's just like, it's so crazy how people like, they go get stuff and then they give it away while it's still good. Like, I don't know. I know I've given stuff away when it was still good, but I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a part of our, you know, did you hear the turkeys? They're the cutest. I think it's just part of our consumer kind of world that has been created where we just we get it. It's like this. We want it, we get it, we have it, and then we want that other thing, and we want something else, and then we get it, and then so we just what we have ends up starting to just circulate, and like people redo all their furniture, all their stuff just because they're bored of it or something. So anyways, but that's my reason why it's like, don't just go in and do a style. Do stuff that you like fix your living room in a way that is like represents you instead, you know what I'm saying? So then it's you, and like you may change some or you may want some different stuff, but it's the people who go and it's like they just go do a style like, oh, I love Pinterest, I'm gonna look up rooms and I'm gonna do my room like this. And but is it really you that's being represented? It's like a part of you, this part of you during that time that liked that stuff, but it's just kind of generic. And so yeah, I think you won't want to change your stuff so much if it's just like stuff that like mine is just a collection of a bunch of weird stuff. That's how my mom says too, so I was raised that way. But it was just like just a collection of a bunch of weird stuff. And I was trying to think, because like the bigger house, like when I had a house that was like whatever it was, 3,500 square foot, and then the last one I had was 650, but I don't even know the space in the garage, how much space I'm taking over here isn't very much. And then but I have space up at the place where you pay to put your stuff in, your storage space. So I have that space. So I'm taking up that space. Oh, which I saw this guy talking about. He was so outraged by this fucking billionaire saying this shit. And, you know, however the billionaire meant it, but there was still disclosure in it. Because you don't know what someone's intention. You don't know. And right now, so much stuff is to get us to think and to open our eyes and get us to understand things. And he said, it was something about the land. He has a whole bunch of land or something. And somebody said something. I don't know the whole story. If he was, he has all this land, but he's not using it or something. But he, and somebody's like, well, why don't you do something with it, sell it or whatever. And he said, it's not mine to sell. It's God's land. I'm just taking care of it. That is what I've been saying. And so, to me, it was like, that guy was so pissed, you know, he was saying that, like, how stupid. But I was hearing, like, oh, see, it's going to start getting to where people understand, like, you're selling us something you don't own. It has to do with you just being in harmony with your space and taking care of it. I mean, we can see some people have a space and they let it go to shit. They don't take care of it. And they'll begin to represent that, like, their car, the way they carry themselves. It's like a deterioration, you know. And I think it has a lot to do with self-esteem and poverty, because you find a lot of that in more poverty kind of places. When people have enough money to take care of their stuff, then all's good. When people don't, then it starts falling apart. They just feel like shit. They don't feel good enough. So there's a line somewhere in there. But still, I mean, anybody who is in one position can drop position. They can drop position easier than they can gain position. And that's what we've been seeing in our society, is how everybody was right on the edge of homelessness. Didn't take much, you know, a little wind gust and there they go. And so we have, you know, huge amount of homelessness right now. And then they put all these restrictions to try and make it where you can't get back into a house. Like, you got to have a good credit score. You got to, you can't have pets. I don't even know all the restrictions because it's just fucking bullshit. Can you hear him? I stop talking then. It's like when I talk, they talk. But the one, because it seems that it's like one boy and a whole bunch of girls. And yesterday when we were out in the car and we were fixing to leave, he went and stood in the driveway and he puffed out all of his feathers and he was doing all of his feathers. Oh my gosh, they're so big and so pretty. Turkeys are the coolest. And I can't believe some people just don't have any respect for them, because I think they're cool as shit. But he does that talking to him all the time. And the girls run around. It's really cute. But he's got this red, what is this thing called? The gobbler or something? Is that what that thing was called? I don't know why gobbler was coming to mind. That red thing that hangs. So he's got one of those and his big puffy feathers. I'm sure that the girls could puff out probably more, but they don't look as majestic or something just walking around. And he knows, like he just stops and look at me. Anyways, though, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, because yeah, because there's so many things going on. What was the one I just saw? Donald said, and he said, oh yeah, no more DC, or DC's out. Well, any of the people who, like, I would assume they're in on that. I'm not sure though, because I don't just consider myself an aunt. I'm a fringe on everything. It's like, I'm gonna get this bag of tickle. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Hold on a sec. So I know like a little bit. I'm an on expert or something like that. Everything I had seen though on the letter was so accurate. That's where I was like, okay, this is for real. They got looking glass or something's going on here. This is real. And so I just thought it was real. And then during 2020, when all the people were live and stuff, there were lots of people explaining all that stuff. And I went and watched some of those videos and stuff. It was so interesting. And so I take it for real. But, so I'm not sure if that's where this information came from. But I know it was during all of this awakening where I started seeing it. And so DC is, it's separate. It's separate from America. And so it's like the Vatican City, the District of Columbia City, those two. And there's a third, and I think it's in Sweden or Switzerland or something. But there's a third place that, I don't know, thinking of it, you would think of like it's a globalist outreach center. So it has its own district, its own rules. They don't have to follow the rules or the laws of anything else. They've got their own. But they sit here in our country and tell us what to do and stuff. So that's the infiltration and stuff. So anyways, Donald has said no more. We are not having DC. There's no more District of Columbia. We're not a district of anything else. We are America. And so he changed it. You see that it's now going to be Washington of America or something like that. Like just like the Gulf of America. Like he's putting stuff back in order. That's the thing. But all these people think like he's crazy and he's doing all this stuff. He's putting shit back in order. And so yeah, we're not going to be under their stuff, which is going to keep being, the corporate rulings, and the corporate rulers are all going to fall. These judges are just going down, and they are exposing themselves on the way out, though, because there can be no question. I mean, the evidence is out there. These people are criminals, and so once you see the evidence, what are you going to do? You're going to keep on whining and saying, this guy's so crazy. And he's taking down all this corruption, and you just sit there whining about it. It's just the craziest thing. And so, anyways, there's more good stuff. I had seen something about, because I'd said that about, like, I swear to God, there's something about this launch that they're trying to get our eyes on, and that something's going to happen. If it's going to be, that they keep trying to get us to realize, like, we're in the firmament. If they're trying to draw attention because there's going to be a big, spaceship thing going or what, I don't know. But it seems like that they want to blow that thing up and cause that big space shuttle drama or something to get our attention. I don't know. It depends on how far things have to go, I guess. They've always got my attention. Well, at some point, though, it was kind of like, okay, you just got to let go of some of it. You can't just be right on top of all of it. You go crazy. And you got to trust, like, it's all going to fall into place. And it's going to look all crazy and messy as it's doing it. It's all going to fall into place because there's no choice over where we're going and what we're doing. And it's a cosmic event. And, but this is where it gets crazy because there's different perspectives. And my perspective is very, very different. And I do think it's more limited. I think it's more of a smaller group of people. Not that the concept is limited, because the concept is broader, way broader than I think other people's. But the amount of people that get the whole thing, it just seems like it's not a lot. So, but, when you talk to somebody, it always trips me out, too, because they're so sure. Well, this is what's happening. And it's like, okay. But, so, this one was, so yesterday, was, talking about, sometimes there was a bunch of good stuff. I don't know if it's money stuff, whatever. This is stuff Donald's doing. It's just like, book, yeah, all this good stuff he's doing. And so then my mom, she looks at it as like, this is a pause. That's what she said. She said, I think this is like a pause. And I said, a pause? And she goes, yeah, before, because we started talking about the golden age. I said, well, yeah, this is going to be the golden age. Yeah, we're going into the golden age, so that's where we're headed. No, we're not. Oh, hell no, they're not. And I'm like, well, this is where I'll just listen and it's like, it's not much point of trying to, I'm not gonna argue about this. But so, and her thing, because it's the rapture, the tribulation and stuff, but this is a pause between, so you get to experience some good things before the tribulation. The tribulation's coming, no matter what. This horrible death planet where everybody is in hell, but the good ones get to leave on the rocket ship out. Well, no, not a rocket ship. Don't do that. They get to leave on the coattails of Jesus. So rapture, they don't have to experience death. They get to just float out of here, and the rest of us, because we didn't fall to our knees and say Jesus is my Savior, has to burn in hell in the most wicked, horrible ways of death. And so, but we should be there. And I swear to God, there was already people saying, the rapture was supposed to already happen. So what are you guys talking about now? So I don't know. All I know is that when I talk to somebody religious, this is what I get. And so so it's kind of like this pause of so you get to see some good things before the end. It's like, I'm like, well, he created a movement of love and unity because we're going into the golden age. We're going into this, everything's going to be great. No, don't kid yourself. That's not going to happen. I was like, well, and then it shifted into, this is all prophecy. It's the proven prophecy of the Holy Bible, and there is no other alternative. And I was just like, man, this programming is I've said, like, fuck, man. It's like, and it figures out how to shift itself. Well, maneuver here, go over there, go there. And, and the crazy thing is like, okay, so do you give the same relevance to Edgar Cayce prophecy? Do you give the same relevance to the Hopi Indian prophecy, the Mayan, Sumerian? There's a lot of prophecy out there. And why is this the only one? Well, it's the proven one, and it's occurring. Well, there's other prophecies that are also occurring, and they're from 3 different perspectives, just like is it the Mayan? I think it's the Hopi Indian one, where this is the time of mirrors. And to me, the time of mirrors is because you have to look at yourself. So it's a time of reflection. And so that is the part that would be the tribulation to me. The hard part is being able to see yourself and to acknowledge yourself, to heal, to be able to witness yourself. And it takes a lot of healing and stuff. That to me is the trials and tribulations, the hard part of healing yourself. But that's through my perspective. And I listen to a bunch of different prophecies and stuff. And I mean, I would be a prophet, like anybody who can see into the future. And I have said tons of stuff that has happened. So, I mean, I've got some good accuracy here too, but it's crazy because then you have like certain people who don't listen to you at all. And it's just like, man, it's so weird. It's just so trippy. And then, of course, it brings you back to being a kid and having these conversations all the way back, because I still got the same team the whole time. And it started back when I was a kid, and I started going against religion all the way back there and questioning and questioning. We can't question it, can't question it. I kept questioning it. And so, anyways, there's people who think like that this is like just a precursor. Where I see the violence occurring, like I've said before, there's going to be violence. There's going to be repercussions. There's going to be karmic. There's going to be like a big part of vengeance and neglect is big, because that creates such a part of loss and people's guilt. And so there's going to be a lot of, it's going to have to be purged out. And these different events are going to create the purging. And one will definitely be the medical. And oh yeah, that was something Donald said too yesterday or the day before. He said that by the end of 29, there will be no more C word. And I was like, dang, I was hoping for it way before that. And because it's got to be like the med beds and stuff. It's going to be a change in technology. And so it's got to be before 2029. It's got to be more sooner. He just keeps like, I don't know, throwing out breadcrumbs or something to get people to think, well, how can it be gone? How could it be? And it's like, because they're hiding technology that shouldn't be there to begin with. And so we shouldn't be getting sick. They're making us sick and then hiding the stuff that would make us better. And so, but this is the time of exposure. It's a time where you will be seen for the truth. You can't hide who you are. You can't hide what you are about. And then that's all going to be coming to the surface. And so there's going to be a lot of anger and stuff when it comes to the medical. I've said the whole time, that's where it always pulls me into. The medical is going to create so much anger and resentment and sadness. The sadness is going to be unbearable for some people. There's going to be so much fresh death. And it's going to be really unbearable to people, but it's a part to purge out. So, I could see how you could call it the tribulation. It's going to be deep wounds, and there's going to be attacks. There was Loma Linda Hospital or something, day before yesterday, I think, was on lockdown and being held by a gunman or something. I'm like, well, there's going to be more and more of that. There's going to be more of that. And that probably is about, maybe they're not doing the right thing for his person. Maybe insurance is trying to send them home, and there's so many different things that can play out. But these frustrations of all these people being in control of our lives and not helping us, not doing things not getting better. And then this financial burden and stuff. So all of this stuff has to play out. All these people, it's getting so white outside already. All these people have to, and they're all here to play it out. They are the roles of the things playing out. And so all these things have to play out. It's just, it's the way that it is. It's written in the stars. It's the, cosmic show. And so it's gonna go. But that will be a part of the healing and stuff. No matter what, we're going into the golden age. We're not getting a little taste of it. And then the people, like, I don't understand, like, how is that even logical? But there's no logic in some of this stuff. Yeah, but I don't know, because it's funny, because I've always been called somebody who's not logical at all. You have no logic. But I feel like I'm always looking at things like, like, yeah, but what about add this? We'll put this and stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, limitation just creates, to me, it's the more, the more information that you can take in and create your own reference, to create your own thing, and pay attention to shit outside of your little thing. Because then you see more, and then you see more, and then it's like, oh, which, by the way, I'm seeing more. So externally, it has been mostly just aloe vera, because it's so close. It's so tiny, this thing, and it's like down in the dip of like where, your tear duct is, and there's that dip right there. So it's down in that dip, so it's hard to even feel, but it's really tiny. And then, when it was moving before, I had those like crystals coming out of my eyes, where it was like these like sand crystals or something. I don't know, because it wasn't like sleep. It was different. And so I went through that part. Last night, it was like this liquid that was leaking. And it wasn't like regular tears or something. You can tell the difference when some of this stuff happens. So I wouldn't say it if it was just normal stuff. But so there was some kind of fluid that was leaking out. And when that was happening, I was like, man, I sure hope that this is healing. I hope it's doing something good. And you're going to wake up, because I have seen some crazy videos, like people I like all sorts of weird shit that don't want to get in my head. And so so this is tiny, but the only thing I've done is the aloe vera, because it's so close to my eyeball. And then, but in other times, like I've tried a whole bunch of different things, but the aloe vera seems to be the most effective. But also, after you remove the patch, so after I took that off, was it a week ago or a week and a half ago? I can't remember, but it keeps working. So it keeps working. It doesn't stop because you take it off. And so when I told my mom, because this morning, it was like, oh my God, I can see so much better. It's not just getting gray down here. It's like the picture's coming back. This thing that was blocking, like this bubble thing or something, was this thing that was always having to try and look past. And it's going away. I mean, this morning I thought it's not there at all. But then this most like tiniest little shadow thing, but it's so tiny. In all these different floaters and all that stuff. And so, like, if I turn my head, there's like a shadow or something. It's improving so humongously much, especially if you've been along with a ride, because there was a point where I was like, I couldn't see shit. Like, I could not see shit. It was like I was trying to look through Vaseline. There was floaters everywhere. There was this thing blocking my eye, and I would go drive, because I was like, well, I can see like from far, but it's not sharp. But everything was like trying to look through a block, and then it started getting better. I don't know. It seems like it started getting better. I swear to God, it seemed like it was the black seed oil. I don't remember what it was, but it's something where I thought, oh, I think something's getting better. And it started clearing up, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. And the best thing is it's not getting worse. See, that's the thing, is it's not getting worse. And, I'm not aging more. I'm not getting worse. I'm getting better. And, but you go through some scary stuff. Like, let's look at my tooth right now. Because we're programmed, especially. Like, if we were just out, like, pioneer people and shit happen, we just get up and keep going, you know? But they get us to be like, oh my God, I got something wrong. Hurry, get me to the emergency room. And so, okay, our body knows what the fuck to do. I mean, especially, you know, I always come back to it. I know I say it a zillion times, but I always come back to the Hep C thing. It's like, dang. I mean, they convince us that we need them to heal everything. And that is a serious thing, where they tell us we'll die without it. I healed myself without even knowing I had it. And so, that is, I don't know. When you have like the history of my own history, my own medical history, and how many times where it was like they seemed like they were trying to kill me or something, and they weren't helping me, that it turns you south off of them, you know. And then when you at the same time start seeing like, oh, I healed myself on that, I healed myself on that, look at that, reversing aging, all these different things you start seeing. It's like, I don't need them. You start being like, man, nobody needs them. Like, if everybody got on board, if everybody had the same information, so you start trying to share the information, but then people just think you're wacky. And it's like you're speaking against God himself, like the science and this Western medicine. They're here to save us. These are good people here to save us. Like, well, so, you know, I'll keep falling apart. And I really hope that my brother is here to show the miracles of the natural to his doctors, you know. But I don't know. I mean, we just don't know. And we sent over the stuff about the aloe vera can increase the platelets. So I sent that over. So hopefully, you know, they just would start trying to do all these things. And I don't know. I'm sure his doctors are telling him, you know, stuff to do too. But I always feel like as soon as he gets started on the other, just chewing that gum, 3 days can make a huge difference in what he's got going on in there. And it's like, it's so simple. Just give it a shot. Just try it. And the same with the horse page. Just try it. Try a tube. Just try a bottle and see the benefits. See if it works. See, you know, even if it stops it from growing, it keeps it, you know, that's a positive right there. That's all they had to offer on the CHEMO. That was their big thing. Well, we can try and stop it from getting bigger, but we can't, and then it doubles. So, anyways, you know, we just got to see, because there is such a burden to programming, because it keeps you in this trap, this mind trap. And even when you're like, oh no, even though Donald, who you love, is saying the golden age, golden age, golden age a million times, you're like, nope, it's just a little thing when we're about to go into the tribulation. Well, it's peace on earth. Like, all these leaders are signing on to it. You hear it over and over and over. Peace, no more war. The Z and Vladimir are signing into a peace thing. Oh, it's going to be peace. You know, it's all a big show. But it's all this peace on earth. And the golden age, the peace on earth is the treaty. They all have to sign on to this peace treaty. Nobody's going to fuck with anybody else. Everybody's just going to have peace on earth. And leadership is going to be changing. It's just like the same thing where he's like whittling it down. Like, no more Washington, D.C., Washington of America. And and Canada is going to become the 51st state, but we're not going to be states like that anymore. I mean, we may say, like, I don't know, we could be called states or something, like the states of North America, because it's going to become like this whole big thing. And I saw this, somebody saying this volcano is going to erupt. And then I was trying to see where it was, and everybody was saying it's in Alaska. And there's going to be a big volcano eruption. There's going to keep being all these things, because it's a part of the cosmic changeover. because it's how the resets kind of work. It's like one civilization kind of goes down under and another one comes on top, and it just keeps cycling through. Like, I mean, the tunnels and stuff, like they're using some old civilizations left, stuff that's left. There's beings that maybe who used it too, who are down there with them, but there can also be that those beings are gone and it was a different time in society and everything just, because it couldn't be like the mud floods and all that stuff. It couldn't be that stuff without it being a natural thing. And so, even though, okay, because they have the the war machine, they have their weather machines, and they can beef that stuff up, but there's also a certain hand, like just how we're seeing, like all these coastal towns and all of these big cities and stuff will all go. Well, they can't just do that. There's also, it's because it's time. It's time for this reset. So all these places are going to keep going under. That's why we got to keep letting go, letting go, letting go, and keep going with the flow, because we don't know for sure where is it all going to be springing back up. I think that they know. We just don't know yet. And so whatever they're doing is just kind of preparing us. So getting us ready for what's to come. And so maybe, trying to get us to focus on the good things, but there are going to keep being changes on the landscape. And it's like clearing the stage. And so we can rebuild. We don't have to go in and tear down New York City and start over. No, it will just go underwater. It'll be a part of the history of humans, the history of mankind, and it'll be underwater because it's no more. But there can be a whole world that, like fish and mermaid, like different things that have that use those places. So it's just like this moving kind of thing. So anyways, it will be like, well, we wouldn't go in and have to tear down all these buildings and do stuff to rebuild and try and stay in these cities so we can put in jobs. It's going to be way more of a spreading out into the world, and way more of us building our own kind of communities. That's where we're going to find the most support, is in community building and spreading out. And there's going to have to be some way of some kind of guidance towards safe places. That's why I think when they start saying stuff about we're building this freedom city here or that there or whatever, and I would think maybe it's going to have to do with they're going to have to crash the dollar first, and then they'll start, well, we got this land, and if you want to come over here, we're going to give you this and that. Those bankers, they fucked us. They fucked us all, but let's all go over here. We'll rebuild. We'll start cities. We got all this gold, and we'll give you some for your communities so everybody can rebuild, and we'll give you money for our land or houses or whatever. So to me, it's kind of like the lure us to places that will be more safe. And then we'll start building them up and building communities. And the other ones are going to keep washing away, burning up. Like over in North Carolina or something, it's just like one thing after another. It's just one after another. And I said that. I said, once one comes in and hits you, you don't just start going out there and trying to rebuild, because you're going to get hit with another and another, unless it's in a clear spot. The only thing we have is that map to be able to look at. And so if you go and you look at that map, and that area is not in that map, and there keeps being disaster after disaster, that's a sign. That's to show you, like, but people are so lost on that part of the signs, of the spiritual signs and stuff. But anyways, I see it as a sign. I see it as like, no, you need to get the hell out. Go out of this area. This area is doomed. It's going down. It's going under the water. So now, after they've had the fucking floods, the fires, uh, snowstorms. Now it's recirculating. Now they're back into, they had more fires, and then now there are more snowstorms or something. It's just one thing after another. It's not going to let up. And it's going to beat some people down. It's going to kill some people, because that's what they're meant to experience, is that, you know, whatever it was that they were trying to do, they're going to get over there to their life review and then see it more clearly. And so, and it can be so many different things. It's like, there's no fucking way that you can figure out a whole soul story and what they're doing and why they're doing it. You can notice dynamics. You can see the push and pull of the different souls and the triggers and stuff. Like, you can see all that stuff and the depth to it. But you can't figure out, like, you know, who hurt who in the way back. You know, like, you just gotta, I don't know. When you see people who have these weird dynamics and stuff, just know it's way deeper. It's way deeper than what people think. And sometimes, you know, there's people who just, because they don't care about themselves, that they just let a lot of people who don't care about them either into their lives. And so those kind of situations, because that is how I was, is those people are all there to try and teach you your value, but it's like, but they do like the opposite, so that you have to see, you have to chase your value. They'll keep treating you like you have no value in order to get you to see, like, wait a minute, why am I putting up with this shit? And that is, you know, the journey back to yourself. Like, why am I putting up with this shit? Why am I, you know, what gives these people value in my life, and when they're treating me like this? And so, you know, there's lots of people, you know, you got to break up with friend groups. You got to break up with maybe employers, you know, get out from under some really toxic employers and stuff. You got to break out of marriages that are just bind you, and you lose yourself and stuff, because the whole thing is about finding yourself and figuring out who you are. That is the evolution. That's the evolving as the soul. That's the soul's journey, is trying to understand who and what it is, and what does it think, and how does it feel, and why does it do this, and why does it do that. And so, you know, like I said, I look at things like in a more logical way. So what are we doing here? Well, it seems like there's an awful lot of that going on. So that seems like that's the place to focus, is that what we're doing here is learning about how to understand ourselves. And the more you understand yourself, then the more you can be like, you know, I don't like this about myself. I don't like this. I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be hateful all the time. I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want to always put people down. And, you know, like different toxic characteristics that people get, and they don't realize that they are this way. And then once you start looking at yourself more in depth, that's when you start recognizing, and that's where people start feeling shame and guilt and stuff. But that's why you got to go deeper, and you have to see, like, you have reasons for being the way you are, and it's different things that have happened through your soul's journey that has created the different ways that you see things, your different reactions, confirmation, your different reactions, your different behaviors. They're attributed to different experiences that you've gone through. So, you know, what you feel, you need to validate it. You need to see, like, well, I feel this way, or I felt this way. I used to behave this way, but now that I understand it, now I see it, I don't need to keep acting that way. I can, you know, one thing to me is I find myself being in silence a lot more. Like, I used to fucking just chatter, boy, I'd tell, oh, no, you're wrong. I was just all the time. Now, you know, I'll hear people, and I'll hear them say things that I am like, what? And it's just like, okay, just stop. Just let it go. Just let it go. There's no reason to argue. There's no reason to talk about it at all. It's, you know, I mean, especially about things that are going to happen, because it's going to happen. was going to happen one way or another. And so what's the point of arguing about it? You know, it's, kind of sucky when you want to talk to a certain level, and nobody's at that level, and people don't see these things. They only stop here. Well, it can only go to here. It can only go to here. It's like, no, everything is about to switch. It's about to flip. Our lives are about to flip over on its side. Everything that we thought we needed, everything that we accepted in our lifestyles is about to just poof, where then it is like going to be a lot for people to process. And he's doing it all in this dramatic way. We're ending this, we're ending that. And you see these people, oh my God, he's such a psycho. He's doing this, he's doing that. It's like he's ending corruption. Like, where you guys haven't caught on to that yet? And even when you got this other guy saying about all this money and all this stuff, and you guys, because they're so caught up in their fears, they're so caught up in the misinformation. But, that's what those souls are here to experience in themselves, wherever they were and however they got there and what it was that made them see what they saw and stuff. And so, but through the recognition of self, that is when you can start to manage yourself. You can start understanding your thoughts. You can start, when you start trying to manage what's going on up in here, that's when you start really focusing on your communication too. I think that those go together. The more that you can manage, your thoughts and what's going on in your mind and all of the noise, then the more then you are understanding your communication and being able to decipher it. So that's a good place to try and understand, why am I thinking that? Where is that coming from? Why am I doing that? Like, start questioning yourself and noticing. A big thing is how can you question something if you don't even notice it? So you got to notice your own behaviors. You got to be aware of yourself, which that pulls you out of being aware of everybody else's shit. And so being more aware of your own, which that helps you to, to not be judgmental or drama queen or hateful or vindictive or something. And it all kind of goes in together, because it all kind of adds into where you start having more empathy for people instead of being more divisive and hateful. You start feeling like, oh, you feel bad. You can feel their pain. You can understand where they're coming from. And that's where we want to be in our society, is to be more empathetic and compassionate to one another, not trying to change each other, not trying to compete with each other, just to be caring for one another. Like, you don't have to get involved and save somebody. Everybody gets the opportunity to save themselves. But to understand, like, the journey's hard. It's hard on everybody. And so to have more compassion and, not be so judgmental and hateful when people are making decisions that we can think are like, that's crazy. But, it's really easy to stand on the outside and think you know everything. But when you've got it going on the inside, it's very difficult. And you got to remember, too, it's their journey. So the things that are going to play out and everything, like your vision is set to keep you on your journey. Like, we're always trying to get people to see these other things and stuff, but you can only see what's on your journey. And when it's like, you can't wake somebody up before it's in their journey, it's in their storyline, because it goes with all these other things. So it's a part of their coming to the state of consciousness, this awareness. But in the states of awareness, though, to me, it has a lot to do with the having the awareness of yourself and noticing your own self. And that could take a while. I mean, maybe you can do it real quick. To me, I thought it took a while of, going into certain situations and then kind of observing yourself more and then trying to understand yourself more. And then you kind of slow yourself down. Well, I don't know. Do you really want to say that? Yeah, well, maybe you don't have to think. I mean, you can think however you want, but you don't have to say it. And so you don't have to keep some animosity or something. You can just let things go. You don't have to argue with people all the time. and you have to convince somebody that you're okay, you know, like all these people, like there's so many things. And so, you know, somebody can think like you're not good enough, and somebody will start arguing and telling them that they're a total asshole and they're a piece of shit. You know, we get in these weird arguments when really it's like, you know, that person's negative. I mean, that's all coming from within them. So why are you letting it reflect on who you are and then reacting to it and giving relevance to what they say? So crazy. But so anyways, noticing yourself is a big one. And that can take, you know, depending on your relationships and stuff, which are there to show you these sides of yourself. But so the more you can witness that, the more you have a chance to change it. But then it has so much to do, too, with your emotional development, not being a product of your own pain and suffering, not being a product of your own fears, to get a rational handle on yourself and your emotions, not be led by your fears, because that's what they mostly do, is just create and lead people around by their fears. But the more that you can pull in, because to me, in the spiritual sense of things, like there's nothing to fear. Like, what are you going to be scared of? I mean, even when you want to think, it just looks like fucking white Christmas out there. Like, god damn. Even when you have the fear. Okay, so even when you have these monsters around, these other beings that are, you know, cryptids, or I don't know, somebody getting a gnome or something in their yard, and then people are talking about these things and stuff, and the fae and all this stuff. But just like how in our thing we think, oh, mermaids are these beautiful sea creatures that sing and stuff like that, when really they're angry fish that are sick of our bullshit. Because there's so much stuff coming out on the mermaids now. Oh my fucking god. Like, it was like a thing. Yeah, people go out and catch them and sell them to biggest bidder, and people order them. Jesus Christ. And probably fucking get the same with unicorns and all that stuff. Dragons, you want a dragon steak? I don't know. The people who know about the truth, they're it's just so weird. So anyways, I was like, you know, don't think like fairies and all this stuff are just Tinkerbell. There's a lot of probably anger in other realms of our like disobedience to the natural order of things, the not caring about things, to just be so self-indulgent, to not care about the planet, the people, or anything else about it, you know. And so, because the Fae, they are like the tenders or something of tending and loving this place and taking care of it. And it's like this energy of love. And so, I don't know. I just feel like that there can be some out there that are not happy with us. And this is definitely a dark realm where there can be a lot of dark things that can happen. So, like, if you go up into the heavens, you're not going to find a cryptid fucking shapeshifter that's going to run up there and start eating people, you know what I'm saying? That's down in this illusion of this game thing. So it's down in this. It's not like they can exist only in certain places. And, yeah, because you have some beings that can go, you know, go through portals and stuff and go into different realities and gobble up on people. But it's kind of still like, we know what we're coming here for. It's not like a surprise. Like, you would know before you came in, you would know, like, oh, so I'm going to go out hiking all the time. I'm going to be kind of blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to run into one of these beings and it's going to eat me up. That's my way out. That's how I'm leaving the storyline. So you would know it ahead of time. And I think we all know, like, how we're going to go or something. It's not like, it's not in the forefront of our minds. But I think when it comes to that time that we find a peacefulness to it, we're like, oh, this feels familiar. I think I'm leaving. I think I'm going to be out And, sometimes it can be these people who were like, this guy was following me, and I knew he was going to attack me. And I'm like, that I survived or whatever. But I think that, because our souls are connected, like nobody can come and, and go after you unless you're connected to them. Like it's a part of your storyline. It's not like, you're living this great life and then all of a sudden this crazy person comes in and kills you and destroys you out of your great life. No, that was your story. That person came, it was your out, and how you ripple out into the survivors. Your story, how it affects the others, is a part of your legacy, a part of your storyline. It's a part of your energy. And so it's, because there can be some where people are really glad, like, thank God that person's gone. They were so horrible. But then there can be other ones like, oh my God, she was a gentle soul. She didn't deserve that. She was the best. And how it affects these people for the rest of their lives and stuff. And so, but none of that happens by accident. Like somebody doesn't come in, a drunk driver doesn't come in and hit your car and end your life quicker. End your life before your time. It's impossible. Nobody can end your time before your time. It's always going to be, that was your time. Your time's up, and you're leaving one way or another. But it's all set. It's all set in stone. It all goes together. And so, to me, that just makes sense. Because if you think of it in any other way, it's absolute chaos. Even when these people sit there and, jumping timelines and creating this new reality and doing this and doing that, then it's like, that would be absolute chaos. That could only be in darker vibration or depth, heavier vibration. You cannot just create chaos. There's like universal laws. What goes down must come back. What you put out comes back to you. These universal laws that it's just because that's the way it is. That's how energy works. And so that you can't you can't do certain things in certain places. Just like I said, you can't have all of a sudden a shapeshifter is going to shapeshift up in the high vibrations and start gobbling up all these orb people or something. No, they can go into this one where we're down here playing characters, and they can go in and get you. And I think that has got to be a part too. If people like, man, I got on these webs or these algorithm with these podcasts of the Appalachian trails and stuff, and all of this, these beings and creatures that are out there. There's some creepy shit. There's some creepy shit out there. And you can't go into these places thinking that's not real. Oh, that's made up. That's not real. No, all that shit, the things you hear, to me, from this point on, people should stop being like, that's made up. Everything you hear, you should say, yeah, but probably, I'm sure there is. Start looking at it with your mind opening, not trying to close it. That's made up. That's not real. You're way better, you're way safer in being like, well, I'm sure that's real. Well, I'm sure that's real. And I know that, you say that kind of stuff, people make fun of you, because I did that my whole fucking life. I saw the Loch Ness Monster, and everybody's like, oh, that's not real. I'm like, that's real. That's real. Anything you see about Yeti, about jinns, about Bigfoot, about aliens, all that, I would always be, that's real, that's real, that's real. And people would always be like, oh my God, you're so crazy. It's all, that shit is real. And there's beings that can shapeshift, but you got to think of the ones that want to hurt other souls or only can be in low vibration. So they can't be in higher vibration, and they can't really hurt you, because as soon as they hurt you as the low, the density version of yourself, as soon as that is hurt, you just bounce out, you bounce home. And so you don't, well, unless, I guess, you get captured and get taken back into the prison thing. But that's all changing too. Even that happened to people, and people kept having to go back in or whatever against their own will. which I don't know, but or not so much against their will, but against their knowing. They kept them in the dark for life after life, so they didn't know. And so, but anyways, you know, if a shapeshifter came down here and ate you, and it's like a video game. The little gobbler going and eating the little thing. It's not really you, and you would just pop out of that little thing and you would just go back home. So it's not something to fear. What was that I had seen about? It was something about death or something. What was I seeing? And it was because there's nothing to fear. I can't remember what it was, but something about, you know, you just come out. And it's not like there's anything that can hurt you. But that wasn't the thing. I can't remember what it was. So, anyways, but the point and the purpose to be going through this stuff is to increase your awareness and to increase your abilities, which has to do with your emotions. And so when you get into that, that's when you have to start learning how to set boundaries for yourself. And that's a big part of healing, because that's really uncomfortable. And that's putting yourself out there. It's very vulnerable to show somebody you care about this, you care about that. And so setting boundaries can be like embarrassing or something. And so you've got to get over those hurdles, those humps, just keep pushing into the things, some of the things are going to make you uncomfortable. Sometimes you're going to be uncomfortable healing because you're going to be doing things differently. You're not going to be just, on autopilot, just playing your fucking games. And, but see, that's also the emotional thing where these people are led by their emotions and their impulses. I mean, you have these grown-ass fucking men, grown-ass men in high positions of power in our communities who are going online and just talking about the weird shit that they want to do to kids. Like, dude, that's what, like, you're like my fucking dogs. Like, that is, you got an issue. Like, you don't have better control of yourself. And the fact that they follow these impulses, that is such emotional immaturity, just following your impulses. That's where, but see, in our society, like, I swear to God, it was around the 80s, but it was in different times because it's throughout our history of man. But it becomes this part where it's like fetish party. It's like, oh, you can do this, you can do that. And so it's like opens up the fetishes. And then people become super indulgent. Like they indulge into these things, into these like there's no by accident that so much of this stuff is like parties. It was like parties. And people are party favors, and it's just so much weird shit. And there's so many of these people who are involved, and people who, that we looked up to, who had money or position or something, and we thought like they were better than us because they had these things. No, in this dark world, they were moving up because they were dark energy, dark people. The light wasn't moving easily through here. People that had morals and people that had ethics and stuff like that, they lose their jobs and stuff. They weren't moving people to the top. They gave a shit. That's why the whole thing with the corporation, there's lots of people that go to work for corporations and they're like, oh my God, we're just a number. They don't care about us. That is because, we the people, and we can notice that kind of stuff. The lower vibration people, though, they just play along. They don't care. And we know that there's souls that come into play, all these different roles and stuff like that. So it's not just that, oh well, all the dark people, all the dark energy is just demons and dark people and stuff like that. No, there's tons of people here playing out dark roles, dark parts to it's like to see something, see the whole, so they can see more. It like goes through their whole thing of seeing. It's a part of their soul's journey, their ride. So it all goes together. And that's where, it's so much more vast and big. How in the world can we go, and why do we think we have time anyways to decide what everybody else's life should be? But yeah, you can't sit there and say, oh, all the dark energy is all demons and devils and stuff. Well, it's people indulging into their darkness, because we all have darkness inside of us. I think we have equal parts of light and dark, and it's up to us to find the balance. And you can't judge the dark, because you need the dark. The dark is what gives you the insight to self. It's so weird too, because sometimes the micro macro of things just really thrown me. It's just like so trippy how everything is so connected. Because we're in this place with the light and dark trying to balance, but it's also inside of us, the light and the dark. And so it's all this like this reverberation of something. It's this echo, it's this bleed out. Everything is like it's this, but then it goes out and it can be this, to all these different degrees. So, anyways, we have the light and the dark playing out here, trying to find its balance, but it finds its balance through all of us finding our balance, and all of us finding our balance is what puts balance back into the world. And so it's like it's this shift. It's a trippy too, because it's like, like I saw this guy the other day, and he was showing this girl this plant. It's in some Australia, some kind of grass or something. And when you go and you wave your hand over it, it closes. And so it moves. And which in our new world, it's supposed to be a lot more interactive like that anyways. But he was like, isn't that so trippy how it moves? That's kind of how I was seeing it, is like this natural movement as we wake up. It is like this response. As we put ourselves into balance, it's like the response just echoes out into the world. And so the world will begin to represent how we feel on the inside about ourselves. Right now, we feel, like we're all enemies. We're out to get each other. We're hateful towards each other. There's so much division, but that is going to flip. It's going to flip everybody, and then people are going to start seeing things much different. And that is this changing in priorities. That's what has to do with the awakening and stuff, is this changing in your priorities. And now all of that, when we start changing ourselves, it just ripples out. It just becomes the world that we live in. And so we're going to get there. Like, this bad stuff's going to keep happening, and the response that we're going to have is to change. Well, we're going to go through pain, sadness, hardship, loss, but then we're also that's going to build us back up. Well, not everybody. Like you said a bunch of times, the ending's not for everybody. It won't. You've got to make the choice. You got to make the choice to want to heal. It's not going to just happen by itself. All that fucking shenanigans that these super spirits were saying, like, oh, this energy is going to come in. It's just going to heal you. It's just going to fix you. It's like, no, you got to go through the process. You can't just lay in bed and think that the universe is going to fix everything for you. It will give you insight. It will make you see things, but you got to fix it. You got to fix things for yourself. It can't give you boundaries if you don't know how to stand up for yourself. So it can keep reminding you that you should have boundaries. It will bring people into your life to make you feel like you need boundaries. But it's up to you to do it. The universe isn't going to do it. So there will be people who won't heal, but that doesn't mean that they failed and not going forward. They're still going to leave the fucking game and go up to the heavens. Like, everybody's invited to the heavens. And it's just weird when, the people think like there's a certain passcode or something. It's like, I don't think so. So, anyways, it's going to keep going. All this stuff is going to keep happening, and it's going to be the people who do take it to the next level, that do change their priorities, change their healing and all that stuff. That is the expansion, and that is the creation of the new world, the heaven on earth and all that. And it's written in the stars, like, this is going to happen, but it's not going to be, it's not for everybody. It's for the people who are here to heal and become a new version of themselves, a new creation, and to be able to prepare and create the world that we all want, the world that we want to live in. And so that's all going to happen. But yeah, it's not for everybody. Like, and you can't, stomp your feet and try and force somebody into it. It's written in the stars who's for it and who's not. And don't forget that, the universe knows what the fuck it's doing, and the soul that you're talking to knows what the fuck it's doing. So even if it doesn't seem like it's going to do it in this, once it gets over to the heavens, it can just come to the same place. Like, there's gonna be, I really totally believe in that the dead and the living and the dead walk together on heaven on earth, because it's a change in our perspective, a change in our vibration. We start being not thinking, oh, they died, they're gone, they've gone to heaven, we're never gonna see them again. No. And then even when you try and talk to them, it's like, no, you're talking to the devil. You're not talking to them. It's like, well, I mean, when we start, the same thing with the fairies, all this stuff, when we start perceiving it, then it's there. So when we start perceiving our other beings, our other fellow man, or people in our families and stuff like that, then they'll start being there. It's because you give them the relevance. That you ignoring them doesn't mean they're not there. It just means you don't have the awareness of them. So in your world, in your reality, they don't exist. Doesn't mean they don't exist. So to me, that seems like a part of the evolution, is us getting to that point of, we give them relevance. And and I don't know, because it's just snowing and so, oh my god, it looks like a winter wonderland. It's pouring snow. What the fuck, man? What is this, March? Yeah, it's the middle of March. Yeah, remember when that used to be rain and showers, and now it's just like fucking winter from fucking September till fucking May. Like, fuck, man. So, anyways, uh, I'll be glad. There's a lot of things I'll be glad about. I'll be glad about the med beds. I'll be glad when censorship's up. I'll be glad when weather machines are turned off. I'll be glad when they stop poisoning us. I'll be glad when we have healthier food and healthier options and stuff. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be improving. But, the other people have to see that we need things to improve before that they can improve. And this process to get people to see is just a slow process. But, I mean, that just shows how deep the mind control has been. And so, anyways, I did want to go up to I wanted to go up to my storage, because then I started thinking, oh, I bet you these tights, I have these tights that look like lace, I think. I've never opened them. And I'd gotten them to wear under jeans over where the holes are. And then I was thinking, that might look really cute, though, with my dress. Maybe I should go get those. And then I told my mom, I said, I was thinking about going to the storage and get these tights I have that are lace. I was thinking that would look cute with that dress, because I've got my outfit for Monday night picked. And she's like, oh, I don't know, that maybe look kind of streetwalker-ish. I don't know. When Jill Biden wore those ones, it looked really tacky. And it's like, oh, maybe I should just stick with the black ones. But anyways, we'll see. I'm just excited to get dressed up and go someplace. So, and surely this is going to melt. I mean, it's supposed to be up in the 40s for the next couple days. The next couple days is supposed to just be cloudy. But, and there's a rainstorm. Maybe that'll blow some snow, like a snow blower. Like, you can have a windstorm, but it doesn't blow the snow away. Like, that would make sense, because this is fucking artificial, weirdo fucking world. So, anyways, and I am having such a headache, and I keep trying to not do it, but like gritting my jaw or something. My jaw, it keeps hurting. And I keep going through these waves of not being able to sleep. And now, just like right now, I just feel like, oh my God, I just gotta go lay down and go back to sleep. It's like, fuck, man. And obviously today is not going to be a lot of doing anything, preparing for the windstorm to come. And I'm just so glad I'm not over in that house and any of these windstorms. Fuck, man. They are so scary. And especially over there by yourself too. And I don't give a fuck, man. Like, if you've never been in the in the situation, and you don't know how scary it is. Those fucking trees that are so huge, and they aren't dense like these ponderosa pines or anything. They aren't like these ones. It's not as dense. It's not as full. Those is evergreens. It's dense. It's a full. Like a fucking branch can fall and kill you. And those things have happened too. But those trees going down, and when the wind starts coming, and I just felt like for sure the mold, whatever they sprayed that created that mold, then this water, and then this wind and stuff. There's gonna be a lot of disasters with the trees over there, I feel like. So, anyways, we're in the time of disasters. But just keep remembering that nothing can really hurt you. If you're taken, it's because that's when you're meant to go. Nobody can take you early. And you just got more things to do somewhere else. And don't stress out about it. And don't, know your own power when you get out of your body. Know your own power. Don't be misled. Like your guide should feel familiar to you. But, and I'm not sure how people were being misled. And maybe that whole thing is cut off. That whole realm is maybe already stopped. And maybe now it's just like, because it's weird. It's like when you hear the NDEs and stuff, there's so much reunion. There's so much like all your relatives and everybody joins you. So, I don't know. But there's definitely people who feel like they've been in prison. So, anyways, the energy is intense. The headaches and sleeping and not sleeping. I don't know. We're just in this time of change. Anything can go at any point. At any moment, things can change in our lives. And, and I'm just waiting to see what's the change is going to occur in mine. Like, where am I going? Like, even, it's so weird because the people who are in the 3D, they can't imagine things going good for you. Because even when I was like, getting this rug on, my mom's like, well, what are you going to do? Put it in your camper? And it's like, look at that. Like, to think like, well, that's the only thing you're going to be able to do. Like, you're limited, Well, I believe everything's about to change. I believe things are going to change very significantly. I think land's going to be opened. I think a lot of stuff's going to change. So I'm just going to go with that flow. And I'm not going to be trying to force things. Things will come to me. I for sure believe that. Things will come to you. And so, but yeah, you look crazy to other people because it's like you need to be doing more. You need to be doing this. It's like that is trying to force things. That's trying to make things happen. What's meant to be is meant to be. It's going to come to me. And so I can try and fill it in with a bunch of fear and control, or I can just sit back and, deal with what there is to deal with each day and get to the point of change. Because it's up there somewhere. I just don't know where. We all have these different points in time. Just like the older version of you is sitting there waiting for the younger version to catch up. And then that one goes, you take the baton and you go on the next leg of the journey. And you're different throughout different legs of your journey. You grow and you learn from different ones. It's just right now we're in a mass growth, mass learning, a mass letting go. Because we're completely changing over into a whole new reality. So it's a total reset. And you got to be willing to reset yourself. So anyways, but a part of the reset is definitely learning how to love yourself and how to love everybody and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.